Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and you're very welcome to today's training, which will be provided by Leon Coe. I'm sure you all know Leon. Leon is it's his dulcet tones that you hear when you call the help desk. So he's there to help us out when we lose our password or try and find a derogation plan that may have gone missing. And so Leon is kindly going to take us through the upgrade that we've introduced into NMP Online, and that upgrade is focused on mapping the Esri and ArcGIS upgrade. And my name is Pádraig Foley, and I'll help out with the questions along with Tim Hyde, who's in the background. And we put a challenge to Tim to try and remain quiet until we get to the questions and answers. So we'll see how we go. I guess a lot of work has gone into this, and Leon will explain a little bit about why we've done it and how the changes have been implemented. Some questions have come in from people already around some challenges that they may have had, but in general, the feedback has been pretty positive. A lot of work went into it. So we're going to present it in two formats. We're going to present it first and foremost using PowerPoint. I guess the powers of the internet can sometimes let us down, so we're going to focus on PowerPoint first, and secondly then we'll go through some live plans, and hopefully we'll have enough juice in the internet to make sure that we can let the maps load and push them out on Zoom so you can all see them. As usual with a Zoom call, any questions you've got, please don't be shy. You can use the Q&A at the bottom of your screen. You can see it at the middle there, Q&A, type them in. Tim will be at hand. He'll answer the questions, I suppose, by typing through first, so you'll see the questions, but we'll also call them out, because in general, if someone asks the question, somebody else is thinking it, so don't be shy with your questions. I guess thanks very much to Leon for leading this, and thanks very much for ladies and gentlemen for tuning in. So I guess we'll hand over to you, Leon.
Yep, thanks very much, Pádraig. I'll just share my screen here now. Yeah, so today we're just going to cover the new mapping that's on the NMP. Thanks for Pádraig there for the introduction. I'm Leon. A lot of you probably have talked to me on the phone or might know me to see, so thanks for coming today. Just you might be wondering why we had to change from the old system to the new. So the NMP was using software called ArcGIS Online, ArcGIS Enterprise, and ArcGIS API, along with JavaScript. All these now have new capabilities. So Microsoft was no longer enhancing Internet Explorer with these upgrades to support the new web standards, and therefore we couldn't ensure the performance of the mapping. So now the NMP uses a version of 4.19 of the Esri API, which support for Internet Explorer has been removed. So this means that the NMP will no longer work on Internet Explorer, and the majority of users have already switched to Google Chrome. But following this upgrade, everyone has to use Google Chrome or Microsoft to get the performance out of the NMP mapping system. It's no longer there on Internet Explorer. So from now on, all your mapping and facilities are only available on Chrome or Microsoft Edge. So what pages have these improvements to NMP been made on? So you have the land setup, you have your Farmyard maps, and you have map viewer. So we all know where the map viewer is, up here at the top of your page, where you're creating your maps to give to the farmer or submit to the department. Your land setup page, where you are making your maps out, drawing your parcels, etc. And the Farmyard map, where you're putting in your storage facilities for slurry and FYM and soil water areas. So access to today's bulletins and the videos for today, or if you're stuck at all on the land setup or doing the map viewer, access to the bulletins are here on your useful information link, which is found on the home screen of your client base. So when you're logging into NMP Online, you go to your home screen and your list of clients comes up here on your page. To the right there, you have useful links, and you'll see new land setup support videos. In there, there's I think there's 6 or 7 videos, and they're 3 to 4 minutes long basically, and they just explain what's expected on each page or how to use each page of the different Landsat or the mapping pages. And again, the bulletins there as well on how to, that is explained. The link to today's video is probably going to be up there as well. So if there's anything new on the NMP Online, it's usually put up here in this section, useful links.
Again, Leon, if there's anything that people want to suggest to include in that link that you might find useful, don't be shy in asking, because that's the place to have the information to hand if you need a question answered.
Yep, definitely. If anyone feels that we need to do a video on how to use something else on the NMP, definitely send in an email to myself using the NMP email that's there. Suggesting whatever you think it could be done to improve the system either. Just to show you the Teagasc website as well. So if you go to the Teagasc website and go into the search box and put in NMP Online, brings you to this page, and all access to NMP Online is there. The latest bulletins there, our contact details, and access to the videos that we've done to aid you in mapping and whatever else is there. Because we know it's a while since some of you might have used the system. So moving on then, the first page we're going to look at is the land setup page, just to go through what's changed on it. Firstly, the page is a lot bigger, so the mapping area is a lot bigger. So if you're working on, say, a laptop, this screen here is going to be the length and possibly nearly the width of your laptop. You have the capability. We've moved away from having our bar up the top here with all our add plots and Lipis and split and merge, and we've tucked everything away here on the right hand side, so everything's a lot neater and you have a cleaner page. The first button at the top is your full screen button, so it makes the screen a lot bigger, easier to map, find your places, etc. The button for layer control, to hide away, say, these blue lines or your exclusions, your yellow lines here. If you want to hide them away so you can see your town's lands a lot clearer, they can be found in here under layer control. Just to say as well, if you're not sure what a button does, you can just hover over it and the button will give a description of what that button is there for. We've introduced the measuring tool here onto the NMP. So now you have the capability to measure the length of a ditch or length of a fence, or water pipe. If you're putting in water pipe or a fence for your farmer, you can give them a rough estimation of how much fencing they need or something like that. There's also the capability to measure an area. So you can click the measure tool and then measure out your area to see what's in that area. Your Lipis button has moved here to the right hand side. So it was up here, so now it's over here on the right. All you do, click that button and click the parcel you want. The parcel will go yellow, and then you hit the confirm button, which will appear here underneath to say that's the parcel you want to select. We'll go through that more on the live system later. You have the draw plot manually, so again, drawing out your boundary of your plot around the page to put in a plot, and the help button. So there's a help button there, which brings you to the link to the videos or to the bulletin to if you're stuck on what to do here, or it gives you the number for the NMP as well. The search capabilities then have improved here down the bottom. So we have the search capability to search by the client's air code. So you can put your air code in there and it'll zoom straight to the farm. We have the search for the Lipis. which is still on the old Lipises. We haven't moved yet to the new Lips numbers, which the department are moving across the country while digitizing the whole country. Our add Lipis buttons have been moved from the top of the page down to here, and the draw button and the add plot button. So if you want to just add a plot without doing any mapping, that's the button you're looking for, add plot. It's not available if you don't have the mapping turned on at the moment. So if you just want to add a plot without mapping, you have to still do it on this page, okay? Your ortho is the same as before. You can do it in grayscale, or your ortho picture where you have the color of the fields and the hedges, etc. This is a new button here up the top. So if you move away from your farm and you want to go back to where the land is, you can just hit that home button and the system will re-centralize the screen over where that land is. So it's a good way of getting back to your farm quick if you've moved away or you kind of get lost moving over. And then again, you have your zoom in and zoom out buttons here as well. So that's just a quick overview of the land setup. Just to say that
Sorry, Leon, for cutting in on you. When on the land setup page, just to let people know, you already mentioned the videos, and those videos are very useful for going through all the details. But there was a super manual sent around as well. I think we circulated it twice to people. It's a PDF that would have been attached when we were letting people know that the changes were coming. And each of the buttons are outlined in that. So for anyone that would prefer an old school version of a run through on what the various different buttons or tabs do, the manual is very, very detailed. You can access it online, or it's in your inbox, probably in a couple of places.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Leon. Just to say on your layer control there as well, we're currently based off the 2014 basic payment and the parcels and boundaries, and this will be updated to the most recent DAF and boundaries when their digitization of the whole country is completed, and DAFM are happy to send us over that data. So at the moment we're still on older information, but once their digitization of the country is finished, that will be uploaded to the NMP, and all the new Lipises will be in there, and you'll be able to use your Lipis search hopefully then. Add Lipis then, these are what I was saying, the two buttons, you have your add Lipis here and add Lipis here. You can see once you click on the parcel, it goes red, and then we have a yellow coloring around the parcel showing other potential parcels that you could Lipis alongside that parcel. So once you click Lipis, click on your parcel, it goes red. That indicates that you want that parcel, and maybe this yellow shows that you have the potential to add that one as well. But if you just want the red one, go over here, hit your tick, and that is confirming that you want that parcel. And then your add plot page comes up where you just put in your name, Townsland, soil sample, and area and all that. Okay. There's new capability to add Lipis as well. So before it was only these two buttons. Now if I go and just click on this parcel here, this box will appear. It will give me the year of the Lipis information, the gross area that's in that field, and the reference area that's in that field. And if I want to make a plot of that field, I just go create plot. So I just click on the plot, this box appears, and I go create plot. You'll see as well, the Lipis information takes into account any exclusions in the field. So you can see this field here has a yellow exclusion going through it, a roadway or whatever. So that has been taken into account here. So the gross area, what's totally in the field, is 1.66, whereas the reference area is 1.55. So the farmer is taken into, or the advisor, whoever has taken into account the exclusion that's there in that field. Okay, so that's the new way of adding a plot, and it's a little bit quicker as well than the other way we had before. So this bar is totally gone out to the NMP now. Whereas down the bottom of your page is totally the same. Again, we found that was working well, so we kept that, your list of plots, and if you want to click in there and change any of the information, you can get in there, change your crop type or whatever it is, your new soil samples, as before. So, and your edit plot details page is relatively the same as well. You have your name, Townsend, and your mapped area, etc. And if you're putting a soil sample, click your soil sample, hit the arrow, send it over. If you don't want this old one, you can send it back or leave it there. So again,
Yeah, while you're changing screens there, just to remind people that if they have any questions in relation to anything Leon's going through, the Q&A tab is at the bottom of the screen. You can type in your questions and we'll see them. So don't be shy. Now is the time when we have the expert going through them.
Expert, yeah. So the next slide there is just to say this, we've moved away from this again. And if I select a plot, so this here now is my new edit plot screen. So if I was editing this plot, I used to go up here and hit my merge or split or whatever, but now I click on that actual plot and this screen appears then. So I click in on my parcel and I have this screen that gives me the information of the plot. So the plot name comes up here, my Townsland, my gross and reference area. So my reference area is my claimed area that's on the basic payment, my crop, and then the soil sample that's associated to that crop or to that field. So if I wish to shape the field, move in these boundaries or whatever, I click shape and then my nodes will appear and I can move in the boundaries. If I want to change my details of that plot, so maybe the reference area is wrong or something like that, I hit my attribute button, I go in and change my reference area or my crop type or whatever. If I want to split the plot, I click split here, merge, or if you want to delete the plot, you just click delete and zoom to. This button here, this dock button, this button will move this screen out of your way. So if you want that screen to, you just want to have a look at the field there before you do anything on it, you hit this dock button and it'll throw this square out of the way up into the top right hand corner. And then if you want to bring the dock back down, just hit the dock button again while it's up here and it'll bring it back down to the middle of the page. So that's just another little functionality that's there. So we want to split a plot. So I go click the split button and then my parcel will go red. Before we used to start on the line, this time I want you to start in the field beside it. Click once and then move your mouse over. And if you want to change direction, click again once and then move up the page if you need to put in an angle or something. But if you're just going straight across, click once, go straight across, and then double click then when you're on the far side of the page. And that will bring up your page, your edit plot details page again with your side A and your side B and what details you want to put in there for them two plots basically. Okay. Just as well, just be very quick on your double click. Don't take half the day clicking, just rapid double click. Otherwise, it won't work for you and you'll be kind of wondering what's wrong. So a rapid double click is needed. Sorry?
It's something we've gotten a few queries on.
Yeah, a few queries after people just not going fast enough with their double clicking. And
it's more or less if you're like opening an icon on your desktop, double click like.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. So just to keep an eye out for that one. And again, start in the field beside it and end up in the field the other side of where you're splitting. Okay.
Just a question came in there, Leon, and I'm not sure you'll be able to answer it because I don't fully understand the question. So if the person wants to put that a little more detail in it, it's why can't you change the Lipis on the map? I assume it's in relation to the 2014 versus the most updated ones.
We are only getting what data we are given by the department. The Lipis, you can call the plot whatever you want. So you don't have to put, like I put a Lipis in there, but I don't have to call it the Lipis. I could call it plot. Tim's field or Porg's field or whatever, or plot 1 or plot 2. At the moment, what Lipis data we have is what we have. Tim might be able to say more at the end on that, but
yeah, well, that's great. And if that didn't answer the question, please put in a bit more detail in the question. We'll do our best to answer it.
Yeah.
Just another one here as well. On any easy way to know which split is which when renaming them? I guess you'll be able to show that when we go to live, but you can probably talk through it there now as well.
Yeah, well, obviously, okay, in this situation, it might be tough because I'm gone basically halfway down it. So I'm going blind. I'm going to call this 1A and 1B here kind of thing. But in a situation where like I cut this up into a quarter, I take a quarter off it, look at your areas like, and one will say that's 2 hectares and the other will say that it's 6 hectares. So obviously the area that you're just after cutting off, the smaller piece, is going to be that 2 hectares, and the wider area around the back here, that will be the 6 hectares. Just keep an eye on your areas and that'll give you a better idea. But yeah, in a situation where a field is fairly 50-50, at the moment, there's no kind of rhyme or reason to which side that I figured out anyway. Maybe someone else has figured out, but to which side the split will appear on.
So another one, sticking with the splits, Leon, can you drag the line to match an area of a split when you know the split area? So I guess that's a point where you turn on the ortho and you might be able to.
Yeah, so you know that the area is 2 hectares. You want to have 2 hectares up here and you want to have your 4 hectares down here. It's a tough one to do. The only way is trial and error, basically, to split here once and put in if you're, say you're around 4.1, like there's no harm in going to your reference area and just putting in that plot is 4 hectares and the top one is the 2 hectares. Because the map is just a visual tool to show where these things are, whereas what you're putting in them reference areas and boxes is the actual the area that's been assigned to that soil sample or whatever. So if you're marginally close or something, don't be afraid to kind of just change your area slightly down from 4.1 or 4.2 down to 4 and add on the extra bit onto the other parcel that's up here, because it's just a visual tool basically.
Okay, thanks. Just one more, Leon, on the browser. Obviously, we will let people know that Internet Explorer is not the browser to use. We're recommending Chrome and we're recommending Edge. But there's a question here around Firefox. Yeah,
there's no issue with Firefox either. Firefox was working fine with the new updates as well. Yeah.
Okay, we'll let you back to it because the clock is ticking.
Right. So merging. So if I want to merge, again, I just click on my parcel. That box appears that I just click merge on, and I select the parcel that I want. So I've selected this parcel, and you can see here the other potential parcels that I could merge with as well appear. You can see this parcel here didn't appear because this wasn't Lipis or it wasn't added to my list of plots earlier on. So once you're happy that you've selected the parcel you want to merge with, you hit the tick box that's on the right hand side of the screen, or you click anywhere else on the screen. And then your add merge or add plot by merging plot details comes up, that screen where you just change your name, change your townland if it has to be changed, or the reference area or something like that. The snapping tool, so you saw there the shape button was there as well. So if for users, I use the shape button only, say if I was taking off a site off a farm or something like that, or farmers after building a shed out in that field and I wanted to just move in the field a bit, I would use the shape button just to pull these nodes back in a bit or out a bit or whatever needed. But there is the capability there to move them and join up parcels. But just to say that takes a lot of practice and it's more detailed, so you have to move in your mouse and get very close to the lines and be very precise in what you're doing. If I was you, I'd be kind of maybe merging the plots together again, or kind of deleting your plot and lipsing again or something like that. I'd only use the shape button if I was taking off a site or my a new parlor gone in or something like that. Plot details box. So all your information about your plot comes up in your plot details. You have the capability to do everything that you wanted before on that page as well. And if you have a capability there, see the way I'm kind of zoomed out on this plot. If I click on that plot there, it'll bring up the few plots that are in that vicinity of that plot. So plot 20's come up. If I went to the right, the details of plot 16 and plot 18 would come up as well, just to, if you want to see what's in that area as well. Just to keep an eye out for your warnings. So just to say, I would advocate not to use the draw buttons. I would Lipis and split all my work if I was doing it. Like in this case here, someone's gone and drawn in this plot, FFG, and it goes in there, and it's encroaching on this Lipis here. So, and I went back in to add this plot because he's after renting this farm, or they're after buying it or whatever. But this field here is encroaching into it after some poor mapping or something like that. Like this is an extreme case. I've gone nicely into the field, but sometimes the people have just drawn have just come out a tiny bit into the field next door, and then you have an issue when you're trying to Lipis a field later on, and this warning comes up. Then you have digitized geometries overlapping existing geometries. So if you're trying to add Lipis and a field beside it is badly drawn or something like that, always keep an eye out for these warnings down the bottom, and you'll have to rectify this. I'd either delete out this plot and Lipis this here again. So just keep an eye out for your warnings down the bottom of the page when you're drawing or Lipising. They'll highlight if there's an issue. So in this case, I've hit Lipis. I've tried to Lipis here. Nothing's happening on the screen. Just keep an eye out for the warning down here coming up. Okay. Map viewer then. So map viewer again is more spacious. We've gone wider. We've tucked away our some of the icons, and they're collapsible. So when you click on them, they come out. When you don't want them, they go back in again. So everything's just a bit tidier and cleaner on this page. Again, the add page works the same. Just in this case, you have to click your add page, click on where the parcels are, and then hit your tick box, which is going to be on the right hand side of the page. You can hit the tick box, or you can actually, once you place your add page, click outside the area and just click once, and that's the same as well as accepting it through the tick box. Okay, so I click add page, click over my map where I want to add it, and it appears there. So these icons are appearing on the right hand side of your screen for the map viewer. So they'll be full screen, your layer control. So if you want to put in labels of the plot's name, the p-value, the chemical fertilizer you're using or whatever, that's where you go looking for that. We have the measuring tool again, and then print plan submissions. So again, our list of plots that we've made or added page that we want to print off. So here we have, this is where they're appearing on the right hand side of your add page. You have the icon there to pop out, and so we have our labels, and they're all drop down as well. So I click label there, the drop down there with my labels, color layers. So every color layer you tick will print off a page, and your custom layers. So if you're looking for the greater than 20% organic matter layer, that's in there. Or if you're looking for the soil topography layers, they're in there as well. And then the last button there is the print page. So you can see here, it gives me a list of pages that I've added to that farm. I have the home farm, the out farm, and then another out farm called the Red Hills. Shows me the scale, the layout that I'm doing, and actions I want to do here. So maybe I want to reposition the field. I use that button to just edit the page. So if I wanted to move the add page over a bit, if I wanted to edit the settings, so what appeared in that page, I'd do that as well. And then if I just want to print that one instead of printing them all, I could use that icon. Or if you want to delete that map, you can use that. Okay, so the same, most of them are the same as before, and just these reposition and hide page list. So just to tuck things away, you can hide this list of pages as well using hide page list. And just to show you the map viewer edit page. So this was worked on a bit to get everything working completely right. So we have our page title, scale, layout, our color layers are as before, and our label layers. But once you do one plot and you've added your pages for the other plots, you can go in and edit the page for the first page, and then you can go and clone all your settings to all the other pages. So this button wasn't working 100% the last time, so now we've tested it completely, and we're 100% satisfied. I'd say that it's working. So every time, if you've got 3 or 4 plan or maps to do, you can just go in, edit the first one, clone the settings to all the other pages, and all these settings, your scale, your layout, your color layers, your label layers, all those will appear on all the other pages you've added. And the same with these layers here as well. And if you just want to clone the title to all the pages, that's fair enough too. You just click that one instead and then save. So a lot of users at the moment are complimenting that, are saying that it's a good job and it speeds up the whole mapping process, or putting in the maps at the end. So just to highlight that. So that it ensures that all maps have the same properties. Just to go through the Farmyard maps then, again, the buttons are all tucked away here on the right hand side. You have the full screen button. You have the plots. If you want to edit your layers, if you want to hide some of the layers, your storage facilities, or if you want to hide away your soil water areas, or the plant specific features. Again, we have a measuring tool. So if you want to measure your ditches or an area for water pipes or something, you have that there as well. If you want to add a feature, so if you're telling your farmer that he has to go or she has to go plant a row of trees down along a hedge or something, you can add in these features, add tree or add structure. Or if there's a well that you're telling them to stay away from for water courses or something like that to keep slurry tankers away from, you can put that in there. And then just this page here is slightly changed a bit. So when you're adding your storage facilities, you have 2 pages now instead of them all been on the one. We have the storage areas, which are the slurry, the FYM, and then you have your soil water areas, which are your collecting yards or something like that along them lines. And they work as before. You just click on them and drag them out, and they appear then on your page. So here's one done earlier. You have your triangles, which are your covered areas, circles, which are your soil water areas, and then upside down triangles, which are your uncovered slurry pits or your FYM storage, your dung heaps that are uncovered. Okay. So that's going through the slides there. We'll just go through the computer, or on the computer there, just to show you a few of them.
Just while you're changing over, Leon, there's lots of questions coming in, folks. So keep them coming. There's the odd one, odd person raising their hand. So if you're able to put your queries in through the Q&A, we'll address them that way. And hopefully a lot of the questions that we haven't gotten to already, we'll get to, and Leon might be able to answer them as we go through. So what we're going to do now is essentially repeat what we've done, but just doing it live. So hopefully internet will allow us the power to do it. So all yours, Leon.
You see my screen there now, are you?
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah,
it's perfect. Yeah, so the land setup page. So if you're on a laptop, this screen here is going to be the full, probably length of your screen anyway, and you'll still have your plan menu. If you want to just get rid of the plan menu, you have the arrows here just to make your screen a little bit bigger. And then you can use your next button to go screen to screen. But if you just want to make it full screen, and while you're on the page itself, just click the full screen button, and it brings it up there full screen for you. If I zoom in onto I've gone away from my farm, so I have this button over here, the home button, and that brings me straight back to where the farm is. So I click the home button, and it should bring me back straight to the farm and center the page over the farm.
Sorry, Leon, I'm a little bit behind you now. I can see NMP Online, but I'm not actually seeing a map. The plan I'm looking at 263114.
Yeah, I'll stop sharing my video here.
Maybe it's fine. Tim, is it working for you?
No, I'm behind as well. If again, Leon, you turn off your video there and just unshare and share again.
Sorry about this, folks. Just better get it now. We have you. Yeah, that's great, Leon. Thank you.
So I have my full screen there now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's bang on.
Yeah, and so my home button is over here again. So if I move away from the home and I click home, it brings me straight back over where the land is. So I zoom in there, and again I have my layer controls. So if I want to get rid of all these lines, I can turn off plots, occlusions, and allows you to see your townsland, so you know your farmers near Grangeford, and so you can go to your order picture or whatever, and you can see the farm then, and then turn back on your parcels and exclusions, and you can see the parcels a lot clearer. You have a measuring tool then. So again, the measuring tool, you just click it, turn it on, click that you want to measure, and click once to start it, and then move the mouse as far as you want to measure. And if you want to change direction, just click once. It allows you to change direction, and then double click then to finish your measurement there.
And just let people know, Leon, that it's one at a time you have to do, and saving it is
yeah. So only one measurement at a time you can only do. I'd recommend you taking maybe a snip if you're wanting to take a load of different measurements or different fields, maybe, so you can put them in a Word document and measure them all, or show them then. Measure area works kind of the same. You just click once, and you can see your area coming up here. Just on what that person said earlier about measuring an area before you split, that area tool could be a good job before you split a plot. It give you an idea where your 4 hectares was, or whatever you're looking for before you split.
And folks, if you have any further questions, keep them coming in through the Q&A, and we can try go through them as we're live. It seems to be working pretty well.
So again, just double click then once you're happy you have that as well, and you have the clear measurement then as well if you want to clear. So again, your Lipis button works like before. You click the button, and then once you move over a parcel, it goes yellow. So I click once when I'm happy, and you can see here it shows me potential parcels to Lipis as well. So once I'm happy I want to Lipis this one, I hit the tick box, and it brings up my plot details there. And the SFP soil type. So if some of you haven't seen this before, the sustainable fertilizer plan, so I've done this as a sustainable fertilizer plan, and I have the potential to put the soil in as dry, wet, or peaty. The dry soil gives you the availability of the nitrogen at 100%. Your wet soil drops the availability of the nitrogen to 95%, and the peat down to 85%. So when you go to your chemical fertilizer page, the allowances will be adjusted accordingly to what you put here. So if it's a wet ground or peaty soil, they'll be reduced from what the department figures are allowed. And again, if you want to allocate your soil sample, click the soil sample and send it over. So I highly recommend people to use the Lipis button and try and get away from drawing boundaries or drawing fields. So like to draw, I just show you here, you click draw, and you go along your field boundary. And then the circle appears when you're back on top of it again, and double click and your area comes up. But it's just, your Lipis is bang on to the edges of the plot, and it's just a little bit more accurate there than drawn. And again, you have your help button there to bring up information about, and the bulletins there and stuff. Just to exit my full screen, the buttons are here down the bottom as well, if you need to access or to draw or to add a plot manually. So just to show you that if you turn off your mapping, there's no ability here at the moment to add a plot in. So you must have your mapping on. So under settings cog, go into your optional settings, turn on your mapping, and you have the add plot button there, just to add a plot without mapping. Okay.
And just when you can see the bottom of the screen there, Leon, as well, the information about the plots might be no harm just to show people that as well.
Yeah. So this is the same as before. If you might wonder why this is orange, so I've turned this into a sustainable fertilizer plan, and just I have to go in here and tell the system, is it a dry, is it a wet, or a peaty soil, and then the orange will go away. Okay, and so just to say as well, you'll see these are out of numerical order. If you put 001 up to 009, all your plans then will go into numerical order. It's just that if you put in a letter into the name of the plot, it will jumble the numbers up, or they go out in numerical order. So if you want them to go back in, just from 0 to 9, put in, or from 1 to 9, put in 00, and the rest of them then leave them as 10, 11, 12, or 10A, 10B. You can put in all that afterwards then.
Just a comment here, Leon, from a user saying that the snap2 function doesn't seem to pull to the Lipis line anymore when you draw a boundary. And I think it's fair to say that we find a certain element of difficulty with it ourselves. It takes quite a bit of patience to get it to do what it should do. You often actually end up working on the field opposite it to make sure that the nodes are in the right position in both cases. So you end up highlighting both. And that's why Leon is, I guess, encouraging people to use the add Lipis rather than drawing. There will be occasions where you can't avoid using the snap2 function. We've actually been in touch with Esri in relation to it. It was a function that they left out of the version previous to the version that we're on. And that's the version that we were supposed to upgrade to. And when we learned that the snap2 function wasn't in it, they had literally just relaunched or released the version that we're working with now. So we upgraded again, and that's why the project took a little bit longer. And I think there's a lot of benefits to the upgrade. And I guess the one drawback that we found is the snap2 function. The hope is that Esri will enhance that in the future. And as soon as they do, we'll be upgrading NMP Online to include that as well. It does work, and you will get it to work. It just takes more patience than it used to, unfortunately. And zooming in quite closely and sometimes moving the nodes in the opposite paddock can help as well. And folks, any more questions, please shoot them through.
Like I don't want to be disrespectful. In my case though, like if I don't use draw in this case here, where maybe this field wasn't there's no Lipis on it, so I can't Lipis it. So I would just go in here and draw the field. I try and get used to your Lipis and splitting and merging. It just makes it a little bit more tidier. Just bringing me on to Lipis and or to splitting and merging. So we want to bring up the details there to try and split and merge this plot. So if I want to do that, I just click on the plot, and you can see here this new box comes up with the shape, attribute, split. So I'm going to try to split this field. I click split, it goes red. Start my split here, and I go across. So I just changed my name there to test 1 and test 2. And save. And maybe I've made a mistake here now because they're over 5 hectares. So I want to merge them back together again. I click on the plot. I go merge. Shows me potential merging options. I click this one. It goes red. And I go take that. I want to just change it back to test. And maybe I want to shape this field now because we're after building a parallel down this part of the field. I go shape. And I pull my node out here. I've taken that much off. I go confirm. And you can see here the field was 10.608. And now with the reshape, it's down to 10.09. And you know that it's in around that figure, or maybe it's in around 10, so you can update that area. So these areas will update to that. Or if you're still not happy, just put in the 10 figure there. That's what
you have the plot details open, Leon. There's a question in here. Assuming the mapping is done by following the Lipis parcels, does the area measured of the newly mapped parcel reflect the digitized area of the parcel or the MEA? I guess when you're using the digitized area, or when you're using Lipis, the digitized area is what will be in there. It'll have the gross area, and so if you select the plot.
Also, if I select this plot here, that has a bit of has a gross area and has a reference area.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's going to give you the gross area. So it's up to you to change the reference area to what. So if I was doing a plan, I would have the basic payment in front of me here, and I would write down that on each one. So the top line, I'd have my plot 1. Plot 1 is on that field, and I tick it off there. I put in my claimed area. Like, because these areas are changing the whole time, it's hard for us to keep up with them. So yeah, I keep my basic payment in front of you and tick them off as you put them in. And just to show you, like, this is one parcel here, or one Lipis. So if I wanted to check that these 3 areas were adding up to the Lipis area that's been claimed by the farmer, if I click on that and I go merge, and I click on this one and I click on that one and I hit my confirm, 12.98, that's what the farm, what's on my basic payment. So I'm happy that them 3 parcels are adding up. Maybe it's meant to be 12.9 and only, so maybe there's a bit of an exclusion on this field. I take the 0.08 off this parcel here by going to my attribute and taking the 0.8 off that there.
And hopefully that answers that question. And just another question, Leon, and maybe we might just demo this. The splitting of a plot, can you measure the area or the distance that you want to split a plot? So just for example, 22B is an I-square plot there on your left. If you wanted to split that from left to right, let's say that they're going to put in 2 paddocks there, and that you'd have an idea of the amount of wire and fence posts needed.
You have the new measuring tool here allows for that. So if I want to see what the distance across there is, so he needs around 180 meters to go across there. I should call it 190 or 120 just for luck.
And if you did want to measure each distance, let's say the plot was going, or the fence was going down the middle, you could measure the distance to where the plot should be, so that the farmer he or she can step it out, or use their trundle wheel to mark where the start of the fence should be and the end of the fence should be. And similarly, the question just asks, could it be marked on the map? And I guess that's a good opportunity, Leon, to lead you into the farmyard and the various different functions that are within that. And this is something that we plan to add to, and that the version of Esri that we run now will allow us to add to, so we can add additional features, and it's something that we've spec'd out, but Leon will just give an example here of how you can add features.
So at the moment we have add features here a well, a tree, and a structure. But as Pork says, this new upgrade allows us to add to this feature list. So we will be envisaging putting in more features, saying fence or water trough or buffer zone along a river or something like that, to allow you to tell farmers to keep away from there or put something in there or whatever. So maybe you wanted to mark where the fence was going to go. Maybe just click the structure for the time being and mark it there. Once you click, it should appear. That's the idea of here anyway, just this slow with the drain on the internet. So yeah, with the upgrade, hopefully it'll come down the line, we'll be able to implement kind of putting in all them kind of areas which you want to avoid or put in new fences or whatever.
We can see the screen again, Leon. It's back pretty clear.
Yeah, so there you are there now, putting in your trees. If you're telling the farmer that there's plant trees along an area, the structure. So there's a marker there for a structure. You print off that map. You could say that structure, or mark it with a pen, then say in structure 1, put in the fence across there or whatever. And if you want to see if that distance is right, just go to your measuring tool. And you know then from the bottom of the road up to that structure, yeah, it's 170 meters or whatever it is.
Just a question on the reference area, Leon. I don't think there's any need to go back to it, but the question is your reference area the same as the claimed area in the BPS?
Yeah, it should be. So you looking at your BPS, the claimed area should be your reference area on the NMP. The gross area is what's actually there on the field, but due to scrub or whatever, your reference area might be lower. So it's up to you to look at your basic payment, see what the claimed area is, and put it into that reference box on the NMP. Answer that. And just to show you there, to put in your soil water features, click and drag it out, or hold it, drag, and then drop it there wherever it is meant to be. Click, hold, and go. And as I was saying, just make sure you check you have 2 pages here to put out. So you have your collecting yards on one page, and then your storage facilities on the other one. And just show you map viewer then. So if I was you as well, or I would stay away from add custom page. All these add pages are set to a standard of 1:5,000. You can up it to 10,000, but like if I go and add a custom page here to that, it's going to go and jump to the standard figure of what it is position. It's not going to stay as what I wanted. So it's going to want 25,000. Okay, so these nodes are there all right around the edge of a plot to move in and out, but try stay to your 1:5,000, as it's more clear for what soil samples are there, or what information is there on the plot. So we go add page. Go add page again. Or hit your tick box to confirm the add page, sorry. So if you want to make this one a little bit bigger, you have the option here under scale to make it bigger. You also have the option here under layout. So if I go A3 portrait, it will make that screen that little bit bigger. So that's 1:5,000 at A3 portrait, and that's 1:5,000 at A4 portrait. It will print off on an A4 sheet unless you tell your printer to print on an A3 sheet. But but you see there, it's just a little bit bigger, and just if you're stuck for taking in a little bit of space, like it's ideal to use the A3 portrait. So I have my option there then to go to edit my details. I just click on it to edit the details, and I go in and I want to add, say, the lab sample to it as well. Clone settings, all pages.
Leon, just while you're going through that, there was a question there about leaving the measurement that you were demonstrating there. Can that be printed on a map? I guess what you had suggested previously around snapping the tool and making a Word doc to give it to the farmer is probably the easiest way of doing it.
Yeah, I actually haven't tried to do it on a map, so I'll just try here.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't work,
I
unfortunately.
don't think it does.
But I've been wrong before.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
It'd be good to be wrong with 100 people watching.
Yeah, I don't think it does now, to be honest. But if you have a Word document there and you just keep snipping the pictures into it, like it'll
get the message across for the farmer. And just going back to the nicely questions in on the Farmyard map, and one of them was deleting. We have a little bit of time there, if you wouldn't mind going back to the Farmyard maps,
yeah,
and
definitely.
just showing how to delete a couple of those trees that you planted. We won't tell Eamon Ryan.
So if you have a tree, or maybe even here, like I've a load of different sheds, and then like, what the hell is that shed? You can click on the shed, it brings up the details. That shed's gone years ago. Go into edit, and it brings you straight to where this shed is, and delete it out of it then if you want it. So shed 12, that's gone years ago, delete it out. And your icon then is gone off the screen back here. So if you want to take a tree out of it, same thing, just click on the tree, delete the tree. Or if the tree is in the wrong position, click on the tree, go position, and move the tree to wherever it's meant to be and confirm it. So yeah, that's a handy tool as well. Sorry, I didn't show that earlier. If you want to go see where this comes from, the name on UCC circular, go edit, and here you are, UCC circular tank. Okay. That answer the question there?
Absolutely. Is there much more, or is there anything else you wanted to cover, Leon? Because we're just getting tight on time, so
no, I think we're fairly all right there. If there's any questions or anything wants to be shown again there, there's no hassle, but
we can go through it. Yeah, we have a couple of minutes left. We just try to keep on time. We might just bring Tim Hyde in, and Tim, if you want to have any closing remarks, or you've kept really quiet there, which is in general a big achievement. But Leon, thanks very much for taking us through that. A great bit of a demo. And folks, if there's other training or you want us to go through something again, we'll check this video out. Hopefully the recording will save okay, and we'll try to get it online for you. We'll circulate the presentation. But if you've got presents or questions or queries, don't be shy of any of our contact details, and give Leon a call. Keep him busy.
Yeah, Leon, if you could maybe stop sharing there for a minute. And thanks very much, Leon and Pádraig, for doing this today. I think it's a lot of the questions that came in are showing that users are actually engaging in the system. And oh yes, there has been some changes to the way the mapping pages work, but we're improving it all the time. Sometimes things don't happen as quick as we like. And Leon there, in fairness, is a fantastic resource to all NMP users. So don't be afraid to email him. So I think some of you have his number as well, direct into the office. So what we do find is that we have this time of year is not overly busy with queries. And rather than leaving NMP Online to when it gets most of its work or use in the first quarter of each year, now is the time to start playing around with that mapping, the new mapping in it, because it does take a small bit of getting used to. Leon, in fairness, showed us that where the videos are on the Teagasc public website, and they're only a couple of minutes long each of them, so they'll give you a good idea, a refresher for after today if you need to look at them. I think Leon has given a fair synopsis of the changes that are there. And I suppose part of all I can say is, look, if people have any suggestions, I know there's quite a few ACA members on today as well. So if if you feel that there's more suggestions that will help NMP Online work better, please send them on. We're always willing to listen, and won't promise everything, but we'll try and do as much as we can. So that's kind of all I have to say, unless anybody has any specific question for me.
And similarly, Tim, if there's any training that people require in other areas other than mapping, Leon and myself will pull something together and we can have another session like this. Or if we need to repeat today's session, don't be shy, we're here to help. But similarly, as Tim said, any suggestions for NMP Online, it's users and people that are using it every day that know where there might be a glitch or a problem, or a better way of doing things. It's you guys and girls that can help us get it better. So pass on your thoughts and we'll try and get them implemented. And if Leon, have you have anything to add?
No, you just, you know where I am, and if you need help or there's no hassle, I can do it over the phone, or if you need a Zoom call and I need to look at your screen or something, there's no hassle there either. Just make an appointment with me or something like that, and we can go through it.
Brilliant.
I'm here to help.
Tim, there's just one question in there on glass NMPs. Can you see it in front of you?
I can, unfortunately, yeah. Look, it's a very good question asked. Like, you know, the way we used to submit glass NMPs and the soil maps through NMP Online, and it was a great system, to be honest. You just hit submit and attached your two documents, the way it went into the cloud, and that seemed to meet the requirements, and it was downloaded somewhere on the far side in the department. The question is, can we do it for derogations or nitrates, etc.? We've been asking for, I'd say, since 2000 and late 2019, could we have that facility from NMP Online Live to transfer derogation plans, the farm sketches, the soil maps, and the ability to attach soil samples to that as well from maybe a hard drive, whatever, to go as one submission into the department, into Ag Food, and so that the department would be able to see it. You as users will be able to see it, and the agent and the farmer will be able to see it on the Ag Food derogation side. Unfortunately, our suggestion hasn't been taken on board, but by all means, if someone has an ear of the minister or an ear of someone in the Department of Ag, and if you can put the pressure on your side, we had started the process, but it wasn't finished because it wasn't up to us to finish it, put it that way.
I think we'll leave it at that, Tim, before we get ourselves in trouble.
Well, we won't get ourselves in trouble. Look, to be fair to the department, the GLOS NMP submission worked very well. It's a pity we couldn't extend it to other requirements for nutrient management plans, whether it be for a non-derogation P-build-up plan, or even for a farmer who's had a nitrate inspection to send it in, rather than downloading it and saving it and printing it off and emailing it, whatever. Yeah, anything to make the system work better, but we can only push so much from our side.
Okay, we'll wrap it up then. And thanks very much, Leon, for taking us through that. Thanks very much, Tim. And for myself, thanks to everyone who has logged on today. And again, don't be shy to get in contact if you have any other questions, queries, or suggestions. And we'll be in touch with more news, hopefully, from NMP Online. Be more, Tim?
No, just one thing, Pádraig, and it's after coming in on a question there. People have asked about, what other layers possibly we can include in NMP Online in the future. I answered a question earlier on about the OSI water course layer for farmers over 170 having to fence water courses. The organic matter layer is a layer we hope to put in onto the mapping page, onto the land setup page. Different layers of water quality. You heard about the PIP-N and PIP-P maps, water protection measure, water abstraction points, sites and monuments maps. All those things we'd love to have in NMP Online. It's just a matter of putting them in priority of when we can get approval from the different departments to put that layer in. So it's something we are working on, and I say watch this space. Mightn't be this month, but it'll be sometime in the future. Okay,
folks, we'll leave it at that. Thanks again, and don't be afraid to get in touch if there's anything else we can help with. And enjoy the rest of your Thursday evening.
Cheers, thanks.